Good day, everyone. This is Suresh Sambu, a senior test consultant from Planet. I have been associated with NPP since June of 2014, which is little over 3 years. I have joined Westpac's NPP program right when it was in the initiation phase. In this pack, I have consolidated the knowledge I gained through my experience of working at Westpac, through my participation in the industry working groups, and other Planet Consultants experiences working at various client sites in the NPP program like Cuscal, Indu, Pfizer, and ANZ. Now let's look at how to ensure a successful NPP implementation from a QA perspective. Let's quickly look at what is NPP. Well, in a nutshell, NPP is making payments faster, real time, 24/7, that is anytime during the day or night, and with rich data. This is how a basic infrastructure of NPP looks like, wherein a customer of a financial institution can make faster payments to a customer of another financial institutions, either by utilizing a single credit transfer or the three overlay services provided by bill pay. Now let's quickly look at what does NPP impact. Now NPP impacts pretty much everything in an organization, such as payments engine, channels, core banking platforms, operations, case management, data warehouse, pretty much everything. Let's now look at some of the challenges that come with an NPP implementation. The first and foremost is to convert the current batch based payments processing into real time, meeting the stringent SLAs as required by NPPA and bill pay. Seeking an industry certification, that is proving the 400 test scenarios are successfully executable before anyone can go live with NPP solution. And managing a program of such a large scale such as NPP, which runs for a number of years itself, is a challenge. NPP is a very popular program that financial institutions have taken up in the recent times, and with popularity comes expectations, and managing internal and external stakeholder expectations is yet another challenge. So we have briefly looked at the impacts and challenges of an NPP implementation. Now let's look at how to ensure a successful NPP implementation from a QA perspective. As we saw earlier, NPP directly or indirectly has a significant impact on the existing payment systems, which means the regression test suite can be built while NPP solution is still being designed. This is exactly what I did at Westpac, that is, started building the end-to-end regression test suite right at the beginning. It is also important to keep adding new NPP functionality to this regression suite, as you will need it for all the future changes that come along. To keep the cost of testing low, it is must to prioritize these tests, else we will end up testing a whole lot for a very minimal changes in the system. So what I'm saying is, prepare for repetitive tests and test efficiently and not infinitely. Now, automation, that goes without saying, isn't it? So, there is so much of regression testing to be done, and hence, it is must to start automating as early as possible and as much as possible. Now, a careful consideration has to be given to the return of investment when it comes to automation. We cannot automate anything and everything. We should carefully look at what am I going to get in return, or how much of these tasks are repetitive in nature, and what is my effort saved by automating the execution of these tests. So, automate what is appropriate and not anything and everything. However, start early. As we can imagine, it's going to be very hectic during the industry testing. Remember the 400 test scenarios that we spoke about? I strongly recommend testing your solution internally without having to wait for other industry participants to be available to test with you. Now, this can be done by using service virtualization, which actually means that you virtualize all the messages, all the ISO messages that you exchange with the industry and test the solution internally. Now, SV can also help to test the smaller chunks of code that is delivered through your iterative sprints independently while other dependent systems are still being built. So, the next recommendation, service virtualization. NPP, as I said before, is the most popular program in the financial industry today. So, customers have very high expectations on NPP. None of the effort and money spent will be worth if the customer walks away with a bad experience. And hence, digital QA of all the customer facing channels is very, very important. This should cover all the aspects of compatibility, usability, accessibility, etc. And this will surely leave a smile on your customer's face. NPP is all about speed. How soon customer sees money in his account. Performance testing is no doubt a key consideration. Performance testing at the end just before go live, as we usually do, is certainly not going to help for NPP. There has to be a continuous focus early enough on the performance testing of each and every component and the system developed for NPP solution. So, as you can see, we cannot afford to delay the performance testing, not for NPP program for sure. So, there is so much to do from QA perspective, and who you think will take care of all this? Core test team. I strongly recommend setting up a core test team early enough to take care of test strategy, test approach, build and prioritize regression test suite, take care of performance test, set up service virtualization, and automate testing as early and as much as possible. And finally, compliance. Don't we forget the compliance. NPP requires us to be PCI DSS compliant, and of course, the whole solution should be compliant to various industry regulations such as fraud, anti money laundering, etc. NPP is also about exchanging sensitive customer data in real time with other participants. So, security testing is another aspect that has to be considered while NPP solution is being built. Now, this is to ensure that there are no vulnerabilities that are left over or untested. So, compliance and security are the key aspects to be taken care of throughout the life cycle of NPP. Now, NPP is no doubt a large program which impacts number of systems and has a very high customer expectations. Hence, by building and prioritizing regression suite early, automating as much as possible and as appropriate as possible, continuing the focus on industry testing, ensuring better customer experience through digital testing, and by early test management and continuous focus on performance test, and finally taking care of compliance and security will ensure a successful NPP implementation.